Welcome everyone. This is the unit 4 of problem solving with Excel. We are going to continue on our series of problems, and in this unit we are going to cover the named range, drop-down list, indirect functions, and the cascading drop-down list. We have a little longer number of things to cover, so let's get on started with it. Creating a named range. So what does it mean? See, up until now we have been referencing a cell using the row and column reference. So A1, B1, C1, etc. However, if we want to refer to a range of cells, then we can make use of a name range. So there are three different ways of creating a named range. One is create using a named manager. So we have to come onto the formula section, click on the name manager, click on new, and give it a name. So co-department, and in the refers to, select your range of cells that you want to refer it to and click on OK. So here we have created a named range called co-department. Okay, similar way we can create a name box, a named range using a name box. What is a name box? So we have already seen a name box. Okay, so for example, if I click on one particular cell, you see the name box basically shows that this cell is E4. However, we can use and create a name range using selecting these cells, coming onto the name box and giving Got it. So if after creation of the named range, if we select those particular cells, we'll see that the name box reflects the name range. Same thing for the code department as well. It shows the name for that name range. Now there is another shortest method of creating it using selection. So let's select all the values that we need to create and make sure as the first row you are selecting the header of that particular column. You come on the same section in the formulas in the defined names and choose create from selection. There will be a small box that basically asks you where the name is situated. So is it on the top row, left column, bottom row, or right column? Okay, so we have it on the top row. Click on OK, and Excel has already created a named range for us. Okay, so here is the employee name, and what it does is any spaces it replaces with an underscore. Okay, so here we see the named range. Now, why is this named range useful? Okay, so let's see one of its useful functionality. So we go to a drop down list, and suppose we have a form over here of employee creation, and we have a few fields: enter employee name, employee ID. So we have entered something, but we have gender, department, and building. Okay, so let's create a drop down list first, which is we go to the data tab, click on data validation. Okay, in the validation criteria you choose a list, and over here, since we have very small number of values, we can create the list right away from here itself. So male, female, okay, so on, right? So now in this drop down list we see male, female showing up. However, for department and building, we can make use of the named range that we have just created. Okay, so how do we do that? We come here, you click on data validation, the validation criteria, you choose the list again, but in the source you come over here and you select your department. So what did I do? In order to come onto this particular form, I basically pressed on F3. F3 brings up the small screen wherein you are allowed to, you can make your choice of what you are trying to create. So over here I'm going to select the code department that we just created, click on OK. All right, and now we see that list of departments showing up as a drop down list. Let's do the same thing for the building. Okay, now list, we come here. Other way to do it is directly we type and enter and click on OK, and here we go. So we have the building. Now one thing that I wanted to show you is, let me do one thing. I'm going to remove this drop down list. Okay, I don't want the data validation. Okay, I'm going to say any value. All right. Okay, so we don't have it, right? And let me go to the name manager quickly. I'll take this and delete it. Okay, now let me create a new. I'm going to create building, and I just wanted to show you that there is a scope which is called a workbook or the sheets. So I'm going to create the building within the named range sheet. Okay, and it refers to these things. All right, so now the building is created and its scope is limited to this particular worksheet. Now let's try again and see whether we are able to choose that particular named range over here or not. So we go back to the data, we go to the data validation, I choose a list, and I come here, I press F3, and if you see, there is no building listed here, because the building as a named range can be used only within this particular worksheet and not anywhere else. Okay, so that's what I wanted to highlight over here. Now let's come back quickly to the indirect. Now indirect is another very important or a useful Excel function, and I'll show you how it is useful. Okay, so we have this company sales data for 4 regions and 12 months, and we are asked to find out the sum of sales for the north region. So in general, how would you do it? You will do a sum. Okay, and since it's the north region, I'm simply going to come here, select everything, and here is my total sales for the north region, right? But in case somebody asks me to change it, I want to see it for the south, I'll have to come to this formula, change the range again, and do it again. So what we are expected to do is, we select a region or a month over here, and the sales should reflect the values based on here. So the first thing that you have to start is, you come here, you select this full range, come back to your formulas, create from selection. Now create the name range from the values for the regions. So these are your columns, so top row and left column, which are your months. So top row and left column, click on OK. Now what do you think has happened? Excel has created 12 name ranges: January, February, March, April, May, up to December, 12. And in addition to that, additional 4 named ranges for north, for then the south, east, and west, so on. Okay, so there are 16 named ranges that Excel has created. Let's look at them. Okay, you will see here now, all of a sudden we have so many things over here. Okay, now let's make use of those named ranges to compute our total sales. So we have picked region of west. So let's do something. Sum. If I want to do a sum of west, what I would do is, I'll come here, select everything. Now see what has happened. Although I selected this range, instead of showing E10 to E21, it has shown me the named range. Okay, I do OK. Right. I'll do the same thing for the month. Okay, is equal to sum. I want to sum the sales for January. Okay, let me do that. I'll do that. Great, I got it. But what if I come here and instead of west, I want to check for north? You see, the values are not changing at all. Why? Okay, it's not changing. So what we have to do is, we have to use the indirect function, right? So what I'm going to do is, just watch it over here. I'm changing this west and I'm making it indirect. So there will be an indirect reference to this field. Okay, now what has happened is, it is referencing this field and in turn finding the named range for north. So these range of cells, and then computing the total sales for all these cells. Got it? The same way we have to do it for January. Okay, so indirect, and then we pick up this month, and there we go. Okay, so for example, if we do this now west, and if we want to do for June, well, here you go. Right, now let's do an intersection. So what we are asked to do is, we have to choose the region and month, and you have to find out the sales for that particular intersection. So if West and June, how do you do that? Okay, we do indirect West space indirect the month. Okay, so the intersection, how do you do an intersection? You just put in a space in between, okay, amongst those name ranges, and if there is an intersection, it will populate the value for that intersection. Okay, so let's verify 6811 West and June 6811. That makes sense, right? All right, so next feature, cascading drop-down list. Okay, so what is a cascading drop-down list? So suppose we have this employee form table, and we have entered these employees and we choose their department. For example, over here we choose something accounting, marketing, sales, purchasing, accounting, whatever, and based on this we are expected to find the role. So if a person is choosing accounting here, these are the roles that should show up over here in the drop-down list. If I choose marketing, it should be these three. If I choose sales, it should be these three, etc. Right? And how do we create this now? Okay, so let's do this. I'll create name ranges for these. Okay, so I'm going to use the create from selection, create from selection, create from selection. Great. So we have created all these things. Now for the department, let's put a data validation that will book. Great. All right, so new department, I selected it. All right, so now let's see whether it shows up. Marketing, accounting, sales, purchasing, marketing. Okay, that sounds good. All right, now for the role, what if I do sorry, not here, data validation. I come here, I do a list, and then in the source, instead of I do a checking, I pick up accounting, I do okay. All right, so what is happening is I'll get these values, right? But if, for example, if I was to change this department, I make it marketing, these roles would not change. Okay, so what I need to do now? Okay, so let me just update it. Okay, I'm going to come here, and instead of the source is equal to accounting, I'm going to say indirect, okay, bracket this value. Now see, there is an absolute reference. We don't want that over here this time. Okay, we want a simple B10. Okay, got it. Let's just copy this up to the different. We'll do a space special, undo, sorry, paste. I think I lost it. Control C, paste special, transpose, sorry, not transpose. What am I doing? All right, so accounting, shall we see? Okay, marketing, shall we see? Okay, sales, shall we see? Okay, purchasing. Okay, if for example, if we change it to marketing, is it going to reflect marketing? Yes. Okay, so that's the concept of the drop down list basically. I hope it is clear, and if anybody has any questions or clarifications, do reach out to me. Thank you so much. Thanks.